All right, guys, we are in Lake Crysteel, Minnesota today at Crysteel. Is it Crysteel or Crysteel?
Crysteel.
We'll settle this here in a little bit.
Well,
we're going to try to sneak inside, get a factory tour, but more importantly, we're hoping one of these bodies will fit on Lieutenant Dan. All right, guys, we've traveled all the way from southern Indiana to, was it Lake Crysteel, Minnesota?
Correct.
And Don here with Crysteel. I'm going to get that right before this is over with.
And we appreciate that.
See, I was sponsored by Hyundai, and it took me like 6 videos to get their name right. So I'm going to do it in the first video for you guys. I'm going to pull this off.
All right, well, that's great.
So anyways, we got a new bed for Lieutenant Dan, but before we get that, Don's going to be nice enough to give us a factory tour. So you're going to give us a little bit of, you're giving me a little bit of the history of the company here and kind of how it started.
Yeah, well, first of all, my name is Don Gorney. I'm the product manager here at Crysteel in Lake Crysteel, Minnesota. But this company, Crysteel, was originally started by a farm family, local farm family, Eldon and Helen Jones. And they started the company on this site in roughly 1969. And they started out by designing the lowboy hoist, the Crysteel lowboy hoist. And Eldon designed that himself, and that was the start of the company.
It is crazy to look around and see how much it has grown from there.
He was a very good entrepreneur.
Yes, he was, but he's my kind of guy. He just figures it out and makes it work. Because you said he didn't even have an engineering background.
Nope, but he was the most optimistic individual I ever worked for. He just.
So you actually have met him and worked for him?
Oh yeah, I worked for him for quite a while. And
awesome.
He was always the kind of guy that no matter when the economy was bad, it'll always get better and we'll figure it out. He was very optimistic.
That's the mentality we miss a little bit in this world from time to time, I believe. So
yeah, it's if I would have known how bad things were, at different times, but he never felt that way. He always said it's going to get better.
Well, we're excited to be here and we're looking forward to a factory tour. Should we head inside and do it?
Well, let's go.
Awesome, thank you, sir. So Don, you're kind of explaining to me that the factory is not set up in a perfect assembly line because over time you guys just kind of keep adding on as needing, right?
Correct. And what we're looking at here today is this is a robot cell, and we use it for welding a lot of our cylinder components. And we manufacture all our own cylinders for all our underbody hoists that Eldon Jones originally designed.
Which I find that absolutely incredible that you guys actually manufacture something like that and don't outsource it.
Yeah, and it helps keep the cost down. It helps control our own quality.
Right.
And when he was doing it, he didn't want to be farming out everything. He wanted to be able to control everything he could control. And it is a nice feature as far as when you have to supply a customer with a replacement cylinder if something goes bad or
because they're actually selling parts to what your service and what you built.
Right. And so we know how they go together, how they're supposed to work, and it's a nice feature to have here.
Now you've been here for over 38 years. I have to ask, how much has that evolved over the years from the original design?
Well, it depends on the hoist. The lowboy hoist design changed, in the last 20 years. But we have also a municipal hoist called a roller combo. And since that roller combo's been designed, it's basically been the same hoist for quite some time. It's very successful.
That's when you know you got a pretty good design whenever it stays that well for years.
Correct.
That's awesome. So this is the hoist and cylinder assembly area, and you said we are going to head on back to where the what's our next stop on the trip?
Our next stop's going to be our fab area, so we can look at some of the machinery there and how some of the pieces come together to go in to build the hoist or the dump body, because that's where all the money's made, is how to figure out how to make all that stuff go. Welding it and fabricating it is that's one thing.
I just heard you talk about how you always looking for quality welders. Just for the record, this one's not available.
Okay.
He's mine. I need him on the other end.
Good welders are, everybody's looking for good ones.
Don't tell him that.
Yeah. Hoist room over here, and this is the original building from 1969.
So this is where it all started, right?
This is where it started. So we're on break now. As you can see, we have a lot of different jigs and things here. But all the underbody hoists get built right here. So anything that goes on a 1 ton up to roughly 16 feet, the hoist will be built in this room. But we do our rear hinges. We do a variety of products. Smaller, we'll do reservoirs up front. So this is the hoist room, like I said, the original building here at Crysteel, and a lot of lowboy hoists and roller combo hoists have been built in this room.
It's crazy. I don't want to call myself a history buff, but I just love seeing where things started and where they progressed to. And I know we can't get an overall view of the property to see this small footprint and it's still being used today and what you guys have grown into.
And if you do look on our website, we do have a video of our expansion, and it will show the whole property.
I'll try to link that in the video.
Yeah, it's showing, because we just up until last summer, the Jones family trust still owned this property. Our company bought the property here, plus we bought 10 acres and the building next door for the expansion.
So basically all these right here are different jigs for different hoists. So
and we build all our own fixtures.
And so basically you just pull out what you need for whatever you're building, and
yeah,
I'm assuming it goes to a welding station?
Right. When this expansion gets towards the end of its expansion, when we get our paint booths back there, they're looking at moving our machine shop area next door.
Okay.
And we also assemble cylinders over there. Well, this isn't the cleanest place.
Right.
The building next door is a little cleaner. So if they decide to move all that stuff here, they're going to create more of an assembly line for the hoists to go down to that blast booth and paint booth. So there's going to be a little better flow going that way.
Kind of get organized.
Yep. And we're going to have more room, gives you more opportunity to fine tune.
Awesome.
We'll head back to fab.
Yep. Following you, sir.
So yeah, this is the start of our fab area, and we have a windy punch press plasma for holes that need to be accurate. We have 2 water table plasmas for cutting AR450 and hoist parts. And then we have a relatively new laser that cuts most of our grade 50 material. And that can also cut accurate holes because the laser cuts more precise than using a plasma.
So I'm just trying to get my head wrapped around the big scheme of this, but somewhere these guys have to know what parts to cut for assembly and production. So I guess that's all through our MRP planning system. And so we schedule by a day. So if we're going to do 20 dump bodies in a day, there'll be orders that come down from our MRP system, and they get divided piece part wise by material, by machine. And so one way we're a little different, that each of our machine operators nest their own parts for their own material. Okay. We don't have any mad scientists anywhere arranging parts. So we have a software system that when it downloads the machine, they'll nest 1/4 inch, 7 gauge, 10 gauge, 12 gauge, and then it could be stainless steel, and then they'll cut them by material. So he knows exactly what to pop out for production's going to need in a day or two.
For a particular day.
Got it.
On this particular plasma machine, we have a press brake right next to it, so that's for our hoist parts.
Now, the plasma machine, it actually cuts the parts. Can we look at one of these here?
Absolutely, yep.
So this would be a plasma cut part, correct?
Correct.
Which is, I don't want to say it's a common, but that's...
Yeah, what you see is, it's a pretty accurate, the slot in it's pretty accurate, and it cuts it pretty good, but there is a slight curve to the edge. It's not a 90-degree edge.
Gotcha, yep. Look at it.
And in a minute we'll look at a laser cut part, and the laser cut parts are almost perfect.
So I just want to explain, this is the plasma table, which I've videoed a few of those on my channel before, but the brake, that actually puts a bend in the metal, correct?
Correct. I'm not sure if they've got anything there we can see, but you can see there's some that were fabricated.
Yeah, so that would be a piece of metal that's been broke, correct?
Correct.
So this machine here, guys, what it's doing is there's that big jaw comes down, and then this thing folds up, I believe, correct?
Correct. And there's a backstop that
actually puts this nice little bend in there, which is pretty similar to what we had modern welding do to bend our frame rails on our truck there. So that's kind of the difference between a plasma table and a brake, just kind of explaining the equipment a little bit.
Right.
That's a pretty good sized plasma table.
Yeah. In truth be told, we'd like to have it a lot longer.
Really?
Yeah. We want to be able to cut 240-inch sheets.
It's impressive. Now, do you guys do anything to recycle your steel, or?
Yeah, it all goes to a scrap dealer.
Okay, gotcha. So you maximize what you can out of the sheet, and then from there it goes to recycling.
Correct. Yep. And you can look at, obviously, the more you can use of the sheet, the better it is.
Correct.
Less scrap, because you're not making much money on scrap. So material utilization is very important. in the steel industry, with steel, especially with steel increasing like it is. And you know, we store all our steel inside, so we don't have a tremendous amount of room. So steel gets delivered at least twice a week, but it could be as many as 4 times a week.
That is an impressive looking machine.
And the screen lets you view the screen, what's going on inside the garage as it's being cut.
I thought this was not an overnight decision to install this thing.
No, it's a pretty good sized project because we did have a plasma in this location. So the plasma had to come out of here, the concrete had to come up because this is a heavier machine, had to have a thicker foundation. It has a bigger tank outside to feed the gas to the machine.
You guys can see it cutting in there.
You can see how fast the plasma cuts and gets up and moves. It really travels at a fast rate.
Now, is there much maintenance on a machine like this, or is it pretty much run?
I'm sure there is. I don't think not any more than any other machine.
Gotcha.
There's maintenance that has to be done on it, and you know, things can break.
That's incredible, though. This thing's sitting here cutting pieces, and there's nobody around.
And it's quiet.
Yeah.
And you can see how fast it moves. And then it's, you know, they should be unloading these parts because they're cut.
Oh, they are cut.
Yeah. And ideally, they would already be. They'd be loading the new sheet on it.
Look how thin a kerf that is. That's absolutely incredible.
Yeah. It's a pretty incredible machine.
That's impressive.
Yeah. It's the one complaint we get though. The edges are so perfect. People go, if you don't weld that edge, well, everything's so sharp. So as the parts come off the plasma or the laser, they're going to be fed into some press brakes. So we have a 16-foot, 400-ton brake there. We have another 16-foot, 400-ton there. Then we got a 12-foot brake that's a little bit smaller.
Now these all also CNC computer controlled?
Everything we have is correct.
So that would be the bottom of the dump bodies, correct?
These are floors, AR450 floors that have been gone through the press brake. Now they're queued up to go into our frame assembly. And then beyond frame assembly, where the frame is being tacked up, we have a seam tracker welder that's going to weld 2 welds at a time. Okay. And so the long sills will be welded simultaneously on each side. So you can see the gentleman here, he's going to be picking up a floor sheet. He's going to set it on his jig and start tacking that together for the undercarriage of the body.
So just to recap real quick, we've seen these sheets over there on the plasma cutter he was getting ready to cut. They went through these brakes, which put the profile on the edge, and now he's going to go down and he's going to actually start putting it on the jig for assembly, correct?
Correct, yep.
Okay.
And so, one thing that's unique about Crysteel is we don't build 20 of one body at a time. As you'll see as we go through the shop, you might see 4 bodies on the assembly line, all 4 are different.
Okay. And everyone's got a build sheet that goes with it, which that goes back to even being more impressive than knowing which pieces and parts to cut to get them there in time.
And that's to be organized, to make sure you get the right part at the right place at the right time is very important.
Yeah. So are the same guys that are setting those on the assembly frames, are they the same guys that run the brakes?
No, we'll have a separate operator.
Okay.
So you can see these parts are queued up for bending for the press brake operator.
These are plasma cut, right?
These are plasma. And after they go through the press brake, they'll be sent over to another group of individuals that will sort them out and put them on the right cart so they go to the right place.
Well, these are some more pieces that have went through the press brake, correct?
Correct. So this happens to be a side panel for a 1-ton body. So they're getting queued up for that.
That'd be a side panel.
Correct. Yep. These are all sides. Some tailgate panels over here. More sides for a larger dump body here.
Now, I used to work in a trailer repair body shop. I worked for East Trailers, is who it was.
Yep.
And when somebody turned over a trailer, we could call them and they'd bend us a new piece. I'm assuming you guys can do the same thing, or do you get much of that anymore, or is it just replacement bodies?
Very rarely. Occasionally we'll build parts, but it doesn't come up that often.
Okay.
A lot of times somebody will, especially if it's a long ways from here, they'll have somebody fabricate a part themselves, or they'll do the best they can in their shop.
It's so weird seeing them in pieces and not assembled.
Yeah. For our large dumps, this is kind of the start of the production line for our large dumps. So the frames are being tacked up in the distance.
Yep.
They're going to go into the seam tracker, and they'll get welded with the seam tracker. Then they'll come out, and these guys will finish welding what the seam tracker cannot weld.
So just to point out, these are the frame rails of the dump upside down, correct?
Correct. And this gentleman here is building the front panel, and he'll build the doghouse if he gets the doghouse. He'll tack them together and weld them. And then once the frame is done, he'll set the front on the frame, and then it'll be shuttled into the assembly area.
Right, so that panel we see over there on the side, I don't know if it's the exact one, but this front box is actually cut to match that up, correct?
Correct. Yep, that's correct.
And you guys build all your rotating jigs and all that stuff to make that?
We fabricate all those ourselves.
Aaron's a welder by trade, so he's just amazed by this.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun going to see what other people do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is our body assembly building, and we also do our install here for trucks. That's going to get loud here with this air cleaner. So we have basically the first two lines, they work together. This bay right here builds all the components, so it builds the sides, the fronts, the tailgates.
Okay.
On the other side of the wall,
Now is this from 1 ton up?
this will go 1 tons up to about 12 feet long.
Okay.
And on the other side of the wall, they'll build the frame, flip it over, then it'll go into assembly, and they'll put the front and the sides on it. It'll go down, get the tailgate mounted on it. It'll get chipped and sanded, and then it'll go to paint.
So it kind of does a zigzag method there.
Well, these components basically just go sideways.
Okay, okay. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I see it now.
So you can see the frames being built. The next gentleman up the line picked it up, flipped it over, put it on the start of the assembly process. And then the front will be put on it. If it gets a pulled on, it'll be the rear pillars and the sides, and just keep moving down the line. We have a lift to lift the body up in the air to get underneath it. And it'll just progress down the line till they're finished.
Is everything is hand welded, no robots?
Out here on the floor, yes, everything's hand welded. And then the next 3 bays will work together. So we'll get down there. We'll get away from that too.
So this is where all those parts really start coming together.
Correct. So now, on these 3 bays, we have the piece parts being made in the middle bay, the sides, the fronts, the tailgates, and then they will go sideways to either one line that does 17 foot and less, and the other line that does 17 foot and above.
Okay. So, just to recap, like that side was a piece that was broke over there. That back's the piece they welded up over here, and then this is where they all start coming together, because that's the bottom that come off that tracker welder over there.
Yep, you can see the frame right there.
Yep, right there is another one.
So he put it on his jig. He's mounted his front panel on it. Now he's going to start fitting up the sides to the body.
Gotcha.
And he'll put it on, get it all squared up, push it down the line, and then the next group will start welding it.
So basically he fits it, the next group welds it out.
Yep. And then eventually at the end the tailgate will be put on.
Now is that stainless steel?
That's stainless steel.
Well, that's probably for a municipality?
Yeah, mostly. We do get some private contractors buying smaller bodies, like 1 tons with stainless.
Gotcha.
Not too many large dumps to private contractors once in a while.
Well, how many overhead cranes do you have in this shop? 100?
No, it's a lot. I don't know. I've never counted them, but there's quite a few.
Everywhere.
Yeah. Well, everything you're doing is pretty heavy.
Right. Right, and you're doing it repeatedly.
Yeah. So
repetitively.
Yeah, you don't want somebody waiting for one.
Gotcha. Look, you got a lot of good guys working here.
Yeah, I mean, people are very important in this business. You can't You know, especially with Crysteel being a custom, we build a lot of custom dump bodies. It would be difficult to have a welder set up to do to weld the inside of the body, because on this line here we have 3 different bodies on the line. You know, so
it's incredible that you guys can custom build on this with this quality of this capacity.
we've been doing it for a long time. We've been doing it for about 30 years that way, and it's a lot of work. And obviously we'd like to do more, less custom, right? But we still do. That's what we're known for.
Incredible.
This happens to be one of the military bodies right here.
Can we walk around this one here real quick?
Yeah. As long as nobody's working and gonna drop something on you, you're good.
So I just want to point out real quick, this is a good one to kind of see the components, because this bed here, you guys, we seen them getting that broke earlier. The front part we seen laying up there, that's the hoist box. He's got one side on. This is where you can kind of see all those pieces and parts they made over in the other section over here, how they really start being assembled into an actual bed. Pretty impressive.
You know, as far as showing people, we wouldn't even care if our competitors came, because knowing what somebody does, you might learn something, but you still got to do it.
Right.
You know, so
it's the infrastructure and the setup that makes it not the actual product.
yeah, I mean,
And the reality of it is, I mean, I've dealt with it in a dealership. If a competitor wants to buy your bed and take it apart, they can.
yeah, and so there's no big secrets in manufacturing. It doesn't look complicated, but it's a fairly complicated thing to pull out. To be successful at it.
That's what I'm trying to point out a little bit more. There's a lot more to it than just building the body.
Yeah. And we're not seeing all the engineering part up front that goes into it, which is a whole nother level that makes it happen.
That's a whole nother video.
And if you didn't have that, you couldn't do this. Our welding here at Crysteel is usually pretty doggone good. You know, we're not perfect by any stretch, but
I got a welding inspector with me.
yeah, we got Joe here welding, and you know, you look at it, it's pretty solid looking. You know, cosmetics are important.
I'd say Joe did a pretty good job there, man, behind the scenes. What do you think?
The hard part is, you know, you're hiring people. People are coming and going. How do you bring a new person in? Because we get a lot of welders never welded in their life, so we have to train them. So you have to start them on simple things and get them worked up to where they can be on the part of the body that's going to be exposed, because nobody wants a body with an ugly weld. This is what we call a super dump. So this body will actually get a trailing axle that'll swing down.
Okay.
So that trailing axle arm will pin here and here.
Right. You see those? They're not real common in Ohio. They're more out west a little bit.
A lot of out west, a lot of Texas. I have to look at Indiana. I know in Ohio they'll work, Tennessee they'll work.
Yep.
But people aren't using them.
And that goes back to the bridge laws of the state, is what that.
Well, if the state follows the federal bridge law, this works.
Yeah.
If the state does not follow federal bridges, it doesn't work as well. Back here we have 2 paint booths and 2 baking booths. So bodies that are going to go out on a prime state, they'll go back there and they'll get degreased and phosphatized. They'll go in and get a primer and black paint underneath. Then they'll go in the baking garage, bake so it's cured. And then on some of the 1-tons, we actually mount the hoist to the body.
Okay.
We call it a quick install. The hoist will get mounted on it, and then it'll go outside, get ready for shipment. Here's an example of a roller combo hoist.
Now you guys are also explaining to me you have multiple different levels of paint, correct?
Correct. So we have a base primer that's a 2-part urethane, which is a good primer, and then we'll put just a industrial grade black on it or industrial grade white back here. Anything more involved with a custom color that will be painted up front, where we can actually mix the paint and get the desired color.
Gotcha.
But this is one of the original hoists that Eldon designed, a roller combo. And so the idea of this is it's kind of a combination twin arm hoist and scissors hoist. So when this hoist is down, it's going to roll. There's a roller track, and it's going to.
I see that, right?
It's going to sit back here.
The frame rail of the dump body will sit right here.
So it's going to be a little bit farther back on the body, not as far back as the twin arm, but farther rearward than a scissors hoist. And then as you activate it and it starts going up, this rotates forward and gets you out in front of the body finally.
And that's kind of where it all started, huh?
Well, this was the lowboy was the first hoist. This is kind of like the next level of hoist he did. This has been very successful.
Now you guys don't build any dump trailers, do you? It's all bodies?
No. So that's kind of a manufacturing process.
Impressive.
The one added thing is, we upfit trucks under another brand. We have 2 brands here. We have Crysteel that sells all over the country. You bought yours from a Crysteel dealer.
Yep.
Then we also have J-Craft, which is our local brand. And so we upfit trucks. We'll do them for all over the country, but we do a lot of, mainly Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, the Dakotas, we do out of here.
So basically, I know it's like, there's like a dividing line right there, but you guys can build the bed here and install it on a truck right there.
Yep. And so we have two brands located in this building. J-Craft and Crysteel. J-Craft used to be located about 70 miles from here, and back in, I don't even remember the year, but late 90s, the people that owned Crysteel bought J-Craft and eventually moved down here.
Now, one thing worth probably pointing out is Crysteel is not actually locally owned anymore.
Not anymore, no. We're owned by the Federal Signal Corporation.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to walk down and take a look at some of the installs.
Yeah.
So this is a very common Minnesota setup. 3 pusher axles. This will get roughly about a 21.5-foot body, depending.
Now, what can they legally haul up here? Do you know?
With this
setup,
about 69,000.
Man, that's not much more. We can haul 67,000 down home with 1 pusher.
In Wisconsin, with 2 pushers, they can do 73.
I was assuming that has to do with the frost walls and stuff. Road protection's when it all comes.
Yeah, I mean our roads are garbage.
Yeah.
The farther north you go, the worse it gets, because the spring thaw cycles are more intense and longer.
Gotcha. So this is the process we'll be following here. We printed off the install manual, but basically you guys install the hinge.
We'll do the whole package. So we'll install axles if people need us to. But so almost every one of our rear hinges, this pivot point where the pin is,
right,
it's going to be, the center of that's going to be roughly at the back edge of that tire.
Yep.
That doesn't have to be. If you want it rearward farther,
the farther forward you get it, the more stable it is in the dump.
Yeah, but I mean, I would say 99.9% of the ones we do are right there.
Gotcha.
It's rare that we move them forward, and it's rare that we move them rearward, but it could be that you might have to do it an inch or 2 depending on the body length and what somebody wants.
I just like this system. I've installed a few bodies. They've already had the hinge on the bed. With this here, you install the hinge in the truck, set the body on there, and then weld it off, correct?
Correct. We'll do that, we're putting the cradle on, putting this on. We'll do all the frame components. It'll go back, get the PTO and the wiring, and then at the end is where we'll put the body on.
So basically these trucks here, they work themselves back to the body, correct?
Currently, because this building really wasn't made for doing this, we do a production line system. In the new building, we'll do a bay build where we'll have bays that will do hydraulics, bays that do electrical, bays that put bodies on.
Gotcha. But this here, This here also gives you a good learning experience on how to build and set up the new building, correct? Because you guys kind of know what you need.
Yeah. We also do plow trucks. We don't have any, we're not doing any currently because we're trying to meet commercial demand. But come late summer when commercial demand drops off, we'll do a lot of plow trucks then.
And do you guys actually build the plow equipment, or?
No, we purchased that.
Purchased that, gotcha.
So we mount it all. We buy the hydraulics, and we mount the hydraulics and the plow equipment and put our body on it.
So this one here's the next stage. It's got the hoist cradle installed, is what you call it.
Yep.
Got the safety props installed. Got the hinge installed.
Yep. And now he's going to mount the valve.
Okay.
And then he'll start plumbing the valve to the hoist and to the reservoir and all that. So pretty much all the valves get mounted somewhere in that area to run the hoses back to. So somebody will mount the pump and PTO, the reservoir, the valve, and then plumb all the hydraulics. And we make all our hoses. So you can see they put that end cap on the back to protect the OEM lights.
Gotcha.
And then this is just a spray-on undercoating.
Now will that be the finish on that spray-on undercoating for protection?
Yeah. Keep it from rusting and you see the hoist tower that we put in it if you want to.
That's so much nicer. So much nicer than the old style they used to have.
These new trucks are just something. I mean, they're like driving big pickup trucks.
Yeah. We gotta do all this. You taking notes?
Well, I'm taking video.
So you can see this one's ready for body right now. So it's got the reservoir. You can see it's full of fluid.
Yep.
The valve's on. Everything's plumbed. The hoses are tie wrapped off. So
very neat job.
And something you guys won't see down your way, but most every body we build up here will get a heated body. So this is the heat kit. The body will come down and push down on that, and when they want to heat the body, they'll direct the exhaust in.
We see that a little bit down our way. It's not really
It's really common up here.
That's basically so people listening know to keep stuff from freezing in the bed.
What's that?
That's basically to keep stuff from freezing in the bed and causing the truck to preventing a possible rollover or stuck load.
Yeah, sometimes for asphalt. They could use it for asphalt too, but it's mainly just to keep so they can work longer into the fall and all winter if they can. But it's to keep stuff from freezing. It's not like it gets it up to huge temperature. But
so, how does this work? Does every 6 hours every truck moves, or?
Roughly, depending on how many people we have working on the trucks, the big line runs, basically they move it once a day.
Okay.
Now, if we doubled up and had more people, you could do it twice a day.
Gotcha.
At times, we've done it twice a day.
So this truck here will come out and go over there, correct?
No, actually, we're just doing extra trucks there. When it gets done here, it'll go out the door.
Gotcha.
So basically, when we start a truck, it takes 3 to 4 days to go from the front of the line out the door.
Gotcha. That's the finished one there, man. That is one.
Yep. And that's on a brand new KW 990.
Installing these for a manufacturer or for dealers?
We do it for private contractors. We do it for dealers. This particular customer we've been working with longer than I've been a part of the group here. And he buys some every year. Lately he's been on a deal where he's leasing the trucks, but he rotates his fleet quite often every couple of years. So this one's got a double hinge on it, double link hinge.
Yep.
That works really well with pavers.
A double link hinge is right here, so when that tailgate goes down a paver, it allows it to raise up and don't put undue pressure on the bed up there. Looks like you got some pretty good painters around here too.
Not bad, yeah. Crysteel bodies, you look at them, the welding is usually good. our paint is good. You know, so we're never going to be the cheapest guy on the block, and that's never our intention to be the cheapest guy. What we need to do is add value that the customers see.
Right.
Not every customer will see that, but you know, that's always been our mantra, is to be a valued supplier. We can go out and look at some of the completed trucks out here, and that's pretty much the show.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to show us around today. You guys sell through dealer only, correct?
What's that?
You guys sell through dealers only, correct?
No, we have dealers that will. We have dealers that will drop ship chassis to us and ask us to install dump bodies.
Okay.
We'll have private contractors, excavators, pavers that we'll work with directly, and they'll go to the dealer of their choice. So it all depends. And then on the Crysteel side, we sell directly to distributors, like the one you purchase your unit from, and those are all over the country. So it's cheaper to send a truckload of dump bodies somewhere than to drive one particular truck.
So if somebody watching this is interested in a dump body, what's the best thing to do? Head to your website, then find a distributor near them, and
yeah, actually on our website you can put in your address or your zip code, and you'll get to see who the local Crysteel distributor is.
Gotcha. Well, Don, I just have one question for you yet. Is there a body around here that belongs to me somewhere?
Yes, there is, and I'll turn you on to the guy that can find it for you. We have if you can see back here, we have a stock of Crysteel bodies.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got a few to choose from back there.
That are painted.
I can just go shopping if you want me to.
Yeah, well, not all of them, but a good portion of them are sold, and they're just waiting like you to get them picked up. I think that's it. Yep.
That looks like it. What do you think, man, behind the scenes? That's going to look pretty good on a Lieutenant Dan. What do you think?
These, the covers are down there. They're wrapped in plastic in there.
Awesome.
Then your air cylinder, your spill shields.
And the hoist is already installed?
This is John Harris's. It's got a sticker up here. It's from John Harris.
Yep, your hoist is in. There it is. So you got the little tabs welded on it to hold it there. You know, to.
Yep, cool deal.
Just cut those off.
Good to go. And I'm assuming that's our.
Or put the coal to it and see if the hydraulics can break it.
Yeah. Well, Don, man, I can't appreciate enough the tour.
Nice to seeing you, meeting you guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We're gonna get this thing loaded, and
I'll look forward to seeing more of your videos. Yeah. Not this one. I don't need to see myself.
All right, guys, they're gonna take the pallet there. It's got all the goodie stuff in it, and set it down inside the bed there for us. He's working on that. While he's doing that, we got us a little bit of cribbing we're going to put down the trailer. That should allow that frame to sit on here and just miss those fenders there and give us a nice smooth ride back to Derby. Hopefully. What do you think?
Oh yeah, going as planned.
You're awful confident. All right, we'll make it happen. Well, man, behind the scenes, that was an absolute awesome factory tour. Appreciate
Yes, it
Don.
was.
Appreciate Don and everybody here for allowing us to do that. More importantly, I think we are loaded down and Hoover approved. We got blocking, strapping.
Hey, like I said in the beginning, did you read the name? It's right here. Right here.
I told you about him. Look, it says Crysteel. Tomato. So, but man, check out that thing, guys. I cannot wait to get back to Derby, get this beautiful thing on Lieutenant Dan. My expectations are exceeded. I'm pleased, man. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I'm tickled.
So let's hit the road, get back to Derby, and pick this back up there. So hope you guys enjoyed the tour. Big thanks to these guys for allowing us to do this. I'll try to link their website and all their stuff down in the description. As always, guys, we'll catch you on the next one. Hopefully in Derby.
Yeah, with the bed on. Yeah.